You see the opening? God, I tell you, I love that song. Hi, everybody. Welcome back once again. We're in our 30th plus week or so of Hangin' and Bangin' on our Artist on Lockdown Network. I'm Ron Onesti, live here from Rock and Roll Heaven in St. Charles, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, the Arcada Theater. Once again, welcome to our show, Hangin' and Bangin', where we spend some great time once a week with some of the biggest names in rock and roll. And I'll tell you what, my co-hosts, my brothers, are just so much a part of this because everybody loves these guys. They've touched the lives, they've touched the careers of so many people. It's been so much fun and a great honor to share this time with them. So we are going to bring them to the stage right now. First of all, you know him from Dio, of course. We got some great video of him. I got to tell him about that in a minute. But last in line, of course, Black Sabbath, the one, the only, Vinny Appice. Come on up, Vinny. I think he's there. And while we're getting Vinny, we have our big brother. You know him. There's our big brother from Vanilla Fudge, of course, the legendary. There they are. Carmine, there's Vinny. You never look better, Vinny.
I know.
Ron's brother.
I've been up all night.
Hey, Vinny, speaking about all night, I heard Whatever Gets You Through the Night on the Beatles channel, and they were talking about the session.
Oh, really?
That's when you walked in and you saw Elton John in the studio, right?
Wait. Share it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, Vinny, share it.
Well, my band, we did some work with John Lennon. This was 1975. Instead of going to school that day, I was at the Record Plant Studios with my band. We had a rehearsal room there, and we were asked to do hand claps for the song Whatever Gets You Through the Night. Jimmy Iovine was the producer. He called us in our rehearsal room, said, come down and do hand claps. Again, we go down and we see John Lennon. I don't think Elton was there, but John Lennon was there, so we were freaking out and went in the studio and then put the headphones on. Now he's talking to us. It's like, holy shit. So we did hand claps on Whatever Gets You Through the Night. And then we
I heard him, and I heard him last night. I heard
on the actual recording. Wow.
Yeah, we're on.
I heard them last night on the Beatles channel. I heard the hand claps. I said,
and then he used to. He found out we were upstairs. We're a 9-piece band with full horn players and shit. And he used to come hang out with us, smoke a joint with him, and hang out. It was really cool. So.
Man, you remember how badass against just smoking a joint was back then with you guys? Like, ooh, we're on drugs. We're doing drugs.
Hey, the baddest joint I ever smoked with Vinny was when we smoked a joint with Buddy Rich.
No, that to me
that was pretty wild.
But
I'm taking a hit. I'm going, I can't believe I'm smoking a joint with Buddy. I give it to Vinny. He's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
What was Buddy thinking?
John Lennon wanted some coke. He was asking me for some coke. I was only 16. I didn't dabble in that.
So you got him a Coca-Cola. You didn't even know what he was talking about.
Well, we got a joint here. I said, well, I got this really nice pot and smoked a joint with him, so that was cool.
We all have our memories. Hey, guys, speaking of memories, we got some great guys that I want to bring. We got 3 guys on our show tonight. This is going to be a big show. And I'll tell you what, it's unbelievable. Especially, you know what? Carmine, for the most part, gets our guests every week. And it's just unbelievable. It's a true testimonial.
I'm the talent coordinator.
You are the talent coordinator.
Hey, Ron.
What?
Do you ever see these new shirts that you stick on? You ever see
Why
that?
are you busting my chops over here, this guy?
Hey, before you
would-
bring,
Look at that.
I have a
That
regular
looks like
shirt
a
on
shirt.
today. Hey, before you bring on there, Pat Travis texted me and said he wanted everybody to know that he's doing a live streaming thing on rockinghouseparty.com. Pat Travis on what day is on Saturday, I think. So,
Well, he's another good friend to all of ours. Been on
Yeah.
this show, been at my place. You guys
Yep.
performed 100 times, so a great guy. Speaking of great guys,
Hey,
so
Ron. Hey, Ron. Hey, Ron.
what?
Did
What?
You see,
What?
Did you see my name?
I love that. Can you wait a second? Hang on.
how'd you do that? How'd you do that?
No, you could do that, but hang on. You
Do
can
it
do
before
it.
you log in. When you
Oh, I didn't know
Wait,
that.
I want to take
Oh.
hang on. I want to take a picture of that because that is so freaking cool. Well, the other way. Hang on. There we go. Okay, there we go. I got a picture of that now. See, I'm going to save that. Let me get see it. Let me see if the light.
Well, we can't see that, but Vinny, you should point to it.
Yeah, I got them. Anyway, come on. We got rock and roll legends on
Let's
this
go.
show. Enough with, and what I love, we were talking before the show with Sandy Gennaro, just, chit-chatting, and he called you guys the Meatball Brothers. I love that. I love that. So let's
Who
bring
called
them.
us?
That's Sandy.
Let's bring Sandy
He's
to
a
the
meatball
mic here.
too.
I know. That's what I love about this show.
He's another meatball. Look at him.
I know.
He's like Carmine. Look.
Oh,
He's like Carmine. He's got all the gold records behind him.
All the jewelry.
I don't do that. Look at my background. Actually, it's a drum pad.
Hey, I got drums. I got drums here. Here's my cymbals.
I got drums too.
My gold records are in the
Oh,
box
yeah.
over there.
Oh, he's got a
Wow.
lot of drums. They got a lot of drums.
That's a big boy drum set right
Well,
there.
that's two sets. That's two sets.
Yeah,
face
it looks
to
like
face.
two, but still. So wait, I'm going to do this properly because one of the things I love about this guy the most, besides his legendary performances with so many people, we'll talk about it, but the fact that this guy is born Santo Gennaro, he was born in Little Italy in New York. I mean, come on. Does it get any better than this guy? How you doing, Sandy?
Good. How you doing, Vinny? Good to see you, Ron. Good to see you, Carmine. Thank you for the
Yeah,
invite.
Sandy.
I appreciate it very much.
We're
Should have
very
some fun.
excited. We're very excited to have you, man. We hope it looks like you're doing well. It looks like you got all your. You've had just enough time to polish all your gold records. So that's awesome.
Is that a dig there, Ronnie?
Not at all. Look at.
Oh, yeah. You'll get
Hey,
you'll
wait
get
a minute,
used to
wait a
that. then. You'll
That
get
might
used
be
to
one of that might be one of those phony backdrops. We don't know.
You know
green
what?
screen. Green screen.
Green
If
screen.
you look at this guy's record, you know that is not phony. This guy's played with so many people, and you know what? We got another paisan, which I didn't know. I was so happy to find out that our good buddy, the guitarist, he was a guitarist with so many other bands, but also in Joan Jett's band. Ricky Byrd is not only an Italian American. Let's bring him on because I want to ask him about this. Hey, Ricky.
Yo, Ricky.
Hey,
I must say that I'm half a Jew.
Well, we're not going to talk about that. What we're going to talk about is the fact that you were actually honored by the Italian American state legislators for all your work with recovery and everything. I mean, I'm all kidding aside, I'm extremely proud that you are one of us and that you've achieved that goal. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, that was a cool day, man. We went up to Albany, and Governor Cuomo gave me the award, and he
Oh
was
my
fun.
God, Como.
nice.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
cool. We had lunch. We had lunch in the governor's mansion.
Which side are you Italian? Father, mother?
My dad.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Hey, Sandy, let me ask you, che si dice, huh?
I love this. You know what? We're going to do this. Let's do this
Sandy.
show all in Italian.
Sandy,
What?
did you take care of that thing?
What thing?
The thing.
Yeah, the thing.
I took care of the thing. I took care of the thing.
All right, enough
You
said.
never have to worry about the thing.
The thing's gone.
Hey,
Hey,
here's some from the old Italian. Sunday, we used to have macaroni and gravy.
Macaroni and gravy.
And
There
with
you
vodka.
go.
With
Macaroni.
vodka.
Don't ever call it noodles.
Oh,
No.
pasta. Pasta.
no.
Right.
Pasta is kind of, that's on the fence.
And it's not sauce.
But that's a
But
sauce with
it's
the
not
gravy.
sauce. It's
It's
gravy.
gravy. It's gravy.
And
Well, here's the
brajol,
thing, because
with
I
the egg.
was totally brought up with.
That's what I miss a lot when we'd go visit my dad's family my grandma Byrd, her maiden name was Lungaro. She would be a little tiny lady, and we'd walk into the kitchen, and she'd be stirring this giant pot of gravy. It was half as big as her.
Right.
That's it. Our grandmas, we're always afraid our grandmas would fall in.
And what's the next move? The next move is you get the Italian bread and you dip it in.
Yeah.
No, not just
Come
Italian
here,
bread.
taste this. Come here.
The heel of the bread.
Yeah.
The heel, and the bread's got to be crunchy.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you know what? You have
Can't
no
find
idea.
that shit in Nashville. That's for sure.
You can't find it in California either.
I'm sure it's all in the water.
Oh, wait, can I just say something about Nashville?
Please.
So the last time I saw Sandy, when I was down there for NAMM, I was staying with my Uncle Billy. He lives down there, Billy Byrd. And I said, I really need a hero sandwich. So he took me to
Manja.
No, it's just a regular chain. It's a hero chain. Come on.
Subway?
No, it wasn't Subway, but it's the Nashville version. They got no pictures. But anyway, I said to the kid, "Can you make me an Italian hero?" He said, "Sure. What would you like?" I said, "Can I have some prosciutto?" And he said, "What's that?"
Okay.
Right.
Get out of here.
And I went,
Put him in the bathroom.
Get out.
Listen, I'd love to make this an all-Italian
Hold on.
show.
Say that again. Prosciutto.
Nice. So, again, love to make this an all-Italian show, but we're going to make this our final guest for tonight, an honorary Italian cousin, because he's worthy of hanging with us, this guy. Talk about a pedigree of people this guy's played with. We just don't have the time to talk about that. Let's bring the Kaz man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kaz,
Hey, listen, I want, for the record, I was married to a Sicilian for 30 years.
Hey, all
He's
right.
Italian by injection. Bada bing.
Yeah.
Well, the amazing thing is that you live to talk about it.
Which explains why he's ballless.
Yeah, right.
Oh, ouch.
Ouch.
Ouch. Getting cold in here.
Ricky, you
Like
probably wouldn't tell.
Like I said, and he lived to talk about it. That's the big deal right there.
Yeah.
Be careful,
So-
Ricky. I'll pull out the DVD from the Far East tour. Be careful.
Kasim, Vinny wants to know if that's a green screen backdrop behind you.
No, this my I'm in my piano room.
Because Sandy's got one of those green screen backdrops.
Sandy's isn't real.
No, that's
No,
not real.
it's actually a green screen.
He got that backdrop off the internet.
I did.
That's a lot.
I had to
of years on
pay.
the internet.
Listen, I had to pay a lot of money for that little five frame there. Right
Wow,
there.
look at that.
Sandy, could you spread them out a little bit more?
No, I want them all in one piece so they get in the same frame as my computer.
No, all kidding
You know
aside,
what? I love seeing all the gold and platinum albums on the wall, which are outside this door now, my den. But if you want, I could up the game. I'll bring in my Rock and Roll Hall of Fame statue. You'd like.
There we
Oh,
go.
I would love to see that.
There we go.
Do you have a ring too? Do they give you a ring?
No, I got
like a World Series ring?
this ring. I got that ring.
The
I got
skull
my-
ring.
got my
Oh, that's
skull.
the Keith vibe.
Yeah.
You know, real quick here. I mean, Ricky, you brought it up with the Hall of Fame night. I was actually a guest at Kenny Laguna that night. I was right there, and who I was standing next to, right in the front, next to Joan's table, Paul McCartney was nudging me all night because he was there for Ringo. It was a great, great night. But since I wanted to ask you really quick though, I thought it was really cool when Tommy James walked out. Was that planned with that? Did you guys know about that, or was that a surprise? Like Crimson and Clover.
I think they knew about it. I didn't know about anything. I mean, they just said the only thing I heard that Joan wanted to play her songs with her new band. And I said that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, you know. Mm-hmm. But it was cool. I got to if you saw you were there, but at the end I had a pretty good time there with half the Beatles.
Oh, that was, come on, that's
Awesome.
ridiculous. So you guys, I do want to touch on, we touched on this a little bit before the show here, but I mean, it's really incredible that the Joan Jett band, and I'm not sure if it was the first, but definitely one of the first and one of the only bands to actually perform your show on Broadway as your show.
That's a good question. I don't know were we first? No, we couldn't have been first.
I mean, as a band?
Who had done that? Who had done a Broadway show before us?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't even have an answer for that.
So how did that all come about? I mean, and obviously it was sold out every night, wasn't it?
Yeah, we played at the Lunfontaine Theater for 5 nights. It was.
That had to have been a Kenny. It had to have been something Kenny put together. And I want Joan to play on Broadway. She said Joan should be on Broadway for her whole life.
Yeah.
And he probably made it happen.
Now look at this. Look at this. Speaking of Broadway.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
There it is.
What is it? Oh, there it is.
That's the poster. And now it was just an actual concert, right? It was your concert show.
Yeah, it was a concert. But we had the Uptown Horns. We had Darlene Love. But you know, to me, like I'm like a historian as far as like show business, and you know, I love every time we would go play these small towns, I'd go into the theater and I go, man, the Marx Brothers played this freaking theater, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
But the Lunfontaine Theater is like historic. I mean, John Barrymore played there, for Christ's sakes, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like really impressed with that kind of stuff. And I remember once, I don't remember what night it was, but I remember looking up in the box on my side of the stage, and David Bowie was sitting up there, and I went, wow, this is kind of surreal.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that, Ricky.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I didn't either.
He was sitting. No, there's pictures from backstage.
Really?
Wow, you have any of those pictures?
I have one where you see half my head. It's Joan and David backstage.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I remember looking up and seeing him sitting up there, and for a kid that grew up on David Bowie, I was like, wow, this is pretty serious business.
Watching you.
Cool.
You know, you talk about some of the legends and icons, and again, looking at all of your resumes, who you played with, it's just, you know, it really speaks volumes to the level of performers you guys are. I mean, really. But, you know, a couple that really I was interested, you know, Cyndi, obviously so many people you perform with. I'm really interested about the Monkees reunion tours you did pretty much for what, at least 4 or 5 years, right? And our good buddy, a very good friend with Davy Jones. You know, that whole reunion, what was it like backstage with those guys? That you know, was there a little bit of fireworks with the I know Dolan's was cool.
Yeah, first of all, I did it every reunion tour from '87 to when Davey passed away. And when Davey passed away, I thought, you know, it was a little bit too diluted at that point. But that was from '87 to 2012. It was, you know, the MD Jerry Renino, rest his soul, used to tell me it was like being an MD for 3 solo artists in the same show, because they all had their idea what they want to do, the set list or whatever. So at times, you talk about fireworks. There was a bit of fireworks backstage, but the shows were all great. And, you know, the positives far outweigh the negatives on that. And, you know, as everybody that was a musician that's my age or around my age grew up with the Monkees. And
yeah,
it was just awesome. You know, it's one of those things where you grow up not idolizing, but really being a fan of a certain artist. And then you end up on stage with them, you know, watching them in front of you with the audience in the background. It was just, it's one of those things I'm totally grateful for. You know, it's you know, it's the same thing with Carmine. You know, I grew up going to see the Vanilla Fudge anywhere in Manhattan that they went to play, or anywhere in the New York City area, if I can get there in public transportation. And then we ended up being friends, and here we are in 2020. So it's one of the nice things. The Monkees were great. I have nothing but good memories of that whole tour.
Well, that's good to hear, because, you know, sometimes you hear when you talk about that. And again, you know, Davey would come here to my place in St. Charles, and he would come. You know, we'd have a show with just his solo show sometimes. He'd come for a week in advance just to hang out, and just so mellow. So, you know, we all know how wonderful
he was. Awesome, man. He spent a night at my house building a stone wall onto my house when I lived in Staten Island. You know, one of the biggest memories was when Nesmith joined the three, Mickey, Davey, Petey. And we toured the UK with the first time in 30 years that the 4 of them were on stage at the same time. It was like when we arrived there, it was like the Beatles. It was like, you know, it was like crazy. It was, you know, we needed escorts everywhere and security and whatever, but it was awesome.
I think you get the same answer from all of us. We're all sort of in the same age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
We all grew up on, you know, the stuff everybody grew up on. So I think we would all agree that we've been blessed to play with people that we listened to when we were 13 and 14 years old. You know, I mean, I've done The Wanderer with freaking Dion, you know, I mean, like,
come on, that's crazy.
That was the Sunrise Theater, Ricky, right? The Sunrise Theater he walked on, right?
And when I played with Southside, I did it too. I played with him.
Do you remember we couldn't end the song?
Yes.
We didn't know we didn't know how to end it. It must have went on for about 9 or 10 minutes.
But in general,
nobody took the bull by the horn and went.
Yeah. Well, I think we were waiting for Dee to do it. You know.
So Dion did a walk on the Joan Jett show?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, him and Kenny are friends.
I talk to Dion. I talk to Dion almost every day. He's great.
Really?
And he's got a great blues album out right now. You know.
Cool.
He lives in Florida. Don't he live in Florida?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, tell him to come to Chicago. I was the last one to bring him to Chicago. I don't know, 15 years ago. He just won't do it. He just won't do it. He'll play in Florida, play in New York, but he won't come. So tell him to come. We want him really bad out here.
He's a great guy to talk to when I'm sort of agonizing over stuff and musically and he's got great advice. You know, he's a soothsayer. You know, he's just a real cool guy. And but back to my point. I mean, we've all had. I mean, Sandy played with Bo Diddley. You know, I mean,
yeah,
we've all and even one of these guys here. I mean, I played with Vinny down in Florida at a rock and roll fantasy camp a couple years ago.
Right.
And that was great. Like, I'm impressed, you know, like I'm just a kid from the Bronx. So like I get to play with these guys. And Carmine, I remember we did Cactus was doing that radio show. Remember?
Yeah. That's right.
And you called me up and said there was a part Jimmy didn't want to play or something. I can't remember what happened.
Yeah. And that was Leslie, my girlfriend's radio show, and you came up and filmed in.
But so then all of a sudden it was me and Carmine and Tim Bogart, and I went, fuck. I'm in Beck, Bogart, and Appice, only it's Byrd.
Well, it's still BBA. It's still BBA though, right?
Well, that's what I said. I said to you afterwards, I said, dude, let's take it on the tour. You could use the same towels, you know?
Yeah.
You know, Kaz, we're talking about legends, of course. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Obviously, I mean, you've played with Meatloaf, which that had to be an incredible experience. I did want to talk about maybe a touch on him, but then we touched on a guy that we don't hear a lot about on this show, or too many shows right now, is Paul Williams. Again, an American legend, but what was it like being with him?
Mean, the best thing about Paul Williams is, first of all, he's an incredibly warm guy, and talking about resume. I mean, Smokey and the Bandit hosted the Johnny Carson show. Mm-hmm. You know, he is he's a multi-Grammy Award-winning, Oscar Award-winning artist, and just written some incredible songs over the years since the '60s. And if you can imagine what it was like in Hollywood during the mid '60s when he was coming up, and then he's just a great guy. And I had an opportunity to write a song with Paul for a recovery event, because I don't think Paul would mind me breaking his anonymity, but we're in recovery together, and we wrote a song to raise awareness for people in this country in long-term recovery. And Paul and I we've become friends, and he's the greatest guy in the whole world. He's just a sweetheart.
Well, you talk about recovery, and you talk about one of the bravest guys in rock and roll. You're talking about that guy, actually, to my right. I don't know where you guys are at, but Ricky Byrd. All the work that you're doing, if you don't mind me bringing it up, with regards to recovery, your Clean Getaway album. I mean, all the fundraising, all the work you've done based on a challenge that you faced, helping so many people. I mean, what's driving you beside the obvious reason? I mean, a lot of people work on it, but you continue to work on recovery projects.
Well, I mean, I have this new one now called Sobering Times that came out 3 months ago.
Yep.
And let me just mention I have the coolest song in the world on Underground Garage this week, which is pretty cool.
Oh, you got voted? That was voted the coolest one, Ricky?
No, I have it for the week, and then I'm part of the voting for the year. So it's really
great.
I mean,
congratulations.
Awesome. I was telling Van Zandt, dude, when I stop getting excited when I hear my song come on the radio, just like, shoot me.
It still excites you, huh?
Oh, are you kidding me?
That's awesome.
I hear the beginning of the song. I'm like, wow, that's my song, motherfucker. So like I just celebrated 33 years in September, and what drives me? So when I do these songs, I mean, the songs on the records are the songs that I do when I go to treatment facilities around the country. I do recovery music groups. So that's my thing. Why do I do it? Because I did this one song called Broken is a Place that was on the last record. I recorded it. I put it online. And I started getting messages from around the world from people either struggling or in recovery, and basically saying, "You told my story," and like, wow, I needed to hear that. And I said, well, that's interesting. Maybe there's something to this. Maybe I could help, sort of combine rock and roll with my recovery. So I started to write these songs, and before you know it, I had enough to go into treatment facilities. From that, I would do these recovery music groups, and I would have, after the group, the clients, they don't call them patients, they call them clients. They would come over to me and they'd say, where can we get this music? We want to take it home. That led to the first record, Clean Getaway. And in turn, then I tried to write some other, then I just sat down after that record was done. I tried to write music, and I'm still in that recovery music mode. And I wrote Sobering Times, and now I got that one out. So what drives me is the response from people that tell me that the songs and the lyrics are helping them. And as a guy that's in recovery, and Kasim will agree with me, it's almost like, the fact that we're still alive and we're blessed to be still alive, it's our responsible to kind of reach back and pull people towards the light, and kind of pass it on. So that's what I do right now. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll do a blues record next, but right now I'm in this thing where I'm just trying to help some kids stay alive.
Well, thank God. I mean, you know what? If there isn't a time that they don't need them more than now, I don't know what time it would be. So on behalf of everybody, thank you for all, and all you guys for what you do for all the recovering people, being great examples.
Me and Kaz had a lot of experience together on the road. On both sides of the track, and I'm glad we're on this side. We were, me and Kasim, and before Sandy, Tommy Price, we were really bad trouble together in a band.
Well, you know what? You got great positive messaging, and you know what? Aside from all the great rock and roll stuff that he's done, Sandy, my son, I gotta call you Santo. I'm sorry.
You can call me Santo. There's no
Santo.
But you know what? With all the great, when you talk about messaging and all the stuff you've done in rock and roll, but I'm really interested to hear about. I mean, you're a world-class speaker. You do all these great speaking, motivational speaking gigs. What is your main message when you go out there and do these things?
The name of the presentation is Beat the Odds, and without going into great detail, it's basically how you treat people, and getting behind and finding out the why that a person does what they do, and it's basically that I gotten every great gig, almost every great gig in my whole career as a result of me treating somebody like a human being. Mm-hmm. I never put the rock star hat on and look down on people or whatever. But I was going to tell Ricky that if ever you wanted to do you do one of your recovery things, and logistically, if it works out, travel, I would open for you and do a little positive message. And then I could play percussion on some of your shit.
I think that'd be fabulous. And the message is the same, bro. It's about self-esteem. It's about being kind and mindful and, helping another person.
It's about the big picture. And we've all been given gifts. Everybody on this screen has been given God-given gifts. And it's our job in the world, in my philosophy, to go ahead and use our gifts to advance the lives of other people, whether it's to make them dance, if we're musicians, whatever it is. We have to affect people in a positive way, because when we pass from this realm and we're pushing up daisies, the people it's the lives that we've touched. They're not going to talk about us, about what we did or how many records Sandy has on. They're going to talk about how Sandy helped them or made them smile or watched them play or whatever. And we're all in that. I mean, especially in the recovery thing. I was lucky enough to not have to go and do that, but it's the same kind of thing.
Sandy was like, I'm going to go to sleep now. And I'd be like, take care. Hope your team wins.
Yeah, well, I could tell some stories about somebody unnamed goes, hey, Sandy, you got a Halliburton, which is sitting right there. You see it on the ground there?
Yeah.
That's my Halliburton. Hey, Sandy, you have a little combination on your Halliburton. Here, you want to hold this until tomorrow, which is 5 a.m, and we have to get up for lobby call at 8. You want to hold this and put it in your combination so I don't do anymore? Sure. I'm not going to mention no names, but then I hear at 6 a.m, I hear, Sandy, let me get it. What's your combination to your Halliburton? No.
Hey, Kasim, how about that feeling when it's 7:15 and lobby calls at 7:30 and you go, well, if I could sleep for 10 minutes, I'll be fine.
All I need is All I need is 10 minutes. I'll be great. I'll be fine.
Everybody.
I just got to close my eyes for 10 minutes. You lay in bed and your eyes are staring at the ceiling.
Oh my
It's
God.
horrible. It's a horrible. Wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
It's horrible. It's right.
You know, Kaz, I think
Carmine and Vinny, you escaped unscathed.
Say again?
That's the Carmine and Vinny managed to escape unscathed.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. Well, Carmine was a good big brother.
Aw. Look
I-
at
That's
that.
important. If I had a big brother, maybe I wouldn't.
He did some drugs in the beginning, and then he was pretty, no coke and really all that shit. So
I never liked it. The coke speeded me up. I didn't need to be speeded up. I
Oh,
needed
that's
to
for
be slowed
sure.
down, so I would take a Quaalude.
That's like trying to make Vinny louder.
Yeah, right?
yeah.
Cocaine was fabulous for like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. I was a pothead. I was complete loved the pot.
Yeah.
Not anymore, but loved
Yeah.
it back then.
I mean, that's about all I did. I unless we got spiked at in the old days, like Vanilla Fudge days, you do a festival and you get spiked with acid because you drank some of the wine backstage at a festival, those kind of things. But otherwise, it was always pot and once in a while a Mandrex or a Quaalude,
That happened to me at a Utopia show, actually. Somebody spiked me that afternoon, and by 7 o'clock, I kept going over to my tech on the side of the stage and saying to him, "Am I playing?" Because
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm playing or not. He's like, "What are you talking about? You're fine." Like,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I had an experience at the Puerto Rico festival with Cactus. It was the second Cactus band, and they spiked us with mescaline. And I was up all night. I remember standing on the balcony out in the hotel, and the hotel was right on the water, right on the rocks. And I was standing there thinking to myself, all I got to do is get up and just jump off this balcony onto those rocks, and it's all over. And I said, you know what? I'm going inside. And that lasted all day. We were supposed to go on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we were all still wrecked by the time we hit the stage. And it was recorded live as well, in the Puerto Rican festival, My Soul, I think it was called.
Love that record.
And it was like we were stoned out of our brains when we recorded that record.
Wow.
There's a
Now
break you've ever
I have
done.
to listen to it again and with a different.
Yeah, listen to it again.
Right. Hey, kids. First of all,
now we're all on Metamucil.
And Geritol.
High five a diet.
Hey baby, you got any pills? Yeah, I got cholesterol. I got for my stomach. I got
High blood pressure.
Zantac.
How about I've been talking to some of my old rock friends, and we're talking about, a blood pressure pill, a cholesterol pill, and we laugh. We go, what's he laughing at? I goes, we used to talk about what kind of pills, what kind of drugs, and now look what we're talking about.
I know.
But we could look back and laugh at this. But listen, man, so many of our brothers and sisters are not here because of this.
That's right.
And,
Right.
the fact that we're survivors, and I don't regret. I really am one of those people that believes that what I went through made me this person that gives me the ability to go help other people that are struggling.
Right.
Like big picture. You talk about the big picture. So, yeah, the way I've been explaining it, and listen, I've been doing interviews for like 3 months straight because this record, and the way I started explaining it is I did too much, probably too often, and thank God that I got out before it was too late. I mean, listen, there were people that did more than me, and there were people that did less than me, but I did enough where my soul was empty. Physically, I was a freaking mess and came, a couple of near misses. Spiritually, I was nothing, and that was enough for me. Everybody's got a different story, I never shot heroin, but I did this, and I was just, I felt like I was running out of dance tickets, and that's why I reached out for help, and somebody helped me, and that's why I tried to help other people.
You're running out of drink tickets.
Yeah, no, there were always plenty of drink tickets, Andy.
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, with all the drug issues that are back then, all the drug and alcoholism issues now, but one of the biggest killers is this whole depression thing. That's really tough with the I'm talking about 13, 14, 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's the drug of today, practically.
What they have to stop it for a second
Yeah.
to do is wake up in the morning and start being thankful for what they have and not worry about what they don't have. Because a person that is appreciative of what they have and who they have in their lives, it's impossible to be depressed if you're grateful. If you're grateful I mean, just wait, be grateful for the person you wake up that's in the bed, or your parents if you're a teenager going through the thing. As I grow older, and I'm going to be 70 in July, I realize that the saying that is the most true is youth is wasted on the young.
That's right.
Because when you're young, it's like you're invincible, and that's what makes us blow at 5:30 in the morning. Oh, nothing's going to happen to me, blah, blah, blah. But, as you get older, I appreciate the fact that I have a roof over my head. And, we all live in a effed up time right now. 2020 was effed up. But you look at the future, look at 2021 as you're looking at the Christmas tree. When you get up at 5 in the morning before your parents, on Christmas morning, and you see the dark living room, but you see all those presents under the tree, you know that it's good. You're happy, your heart's beating. You don't know what's in the present, but you know it's going to be happy, and you know it's going to be good. And that's the way you should look at the future. Look at it as the potentially glass is half full. Don't look at it as don't be a prophet of doom and a naysayer and a Debbie Downer. Just think of it, and it may not happen that way, but you move forward with that kind of mindset. And when you have that kind of mindset, you draw positivity to yourself. You draw people to yourself when you're positive. If you're a whiny son of a, nobody wants to be around a whiny little rug rat, So anyway, I don't want to.
Great message. Great message.
That's a great message. And also, reaching out for help is difficult for some people. But I believe, like in the recovery side of it, which also depression is in there and trauma and all kinds of stuff. Isolation, like addictions and depression, thrives in isolation.
Right.
So that's why in recovery, it's like a reach out. That's why, these like community support group meetings, and during the pandemic, I've been going to almost every day to a Zoom community support group meeting. And by not living in my own head, which is not a real good place to live a lot of the time,
right?
It's you share the burdens that you're carrying with other people. So also for kids, like I have a 19-year-old, and when I see that look on her face, it's like, come on, let's talk. Is that look? That look.
But don't you also think too that one of the biggest problems that we face today is this?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that's the biggest problem. Absolutely.
It's like this isolates us from one another, from society, because everything is right here. So you don't need to go out and talk to somebody or go to a store or buy. You could just buy it here, and
Just ask Siri.
Yeah, Siri.
Exactly.
Well, my daughter did this today. She's got a big, she's 15. She got a big test tomorrow. She texted me just to tell me that. And you know what I didn't ask her to do this. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my phone. I'm putting it across the room so I can focus. I mean, I was like, whoa, that's huge.
But also talking about gratitude, like Sandy was just talking about, like, I've run into people that say, man, I don't like those Zoom meetings. I'm like, dude, we're like locked in our houses. Like, I won't go to a community support group meeting in a church basement right now. It's like, I'm grateful that there's technology that I could sit here and every day and go to a community support group meeting all over the world if I want. I mean, I think that's brilliant.
It is.
What's funny is before the pandemic, I never heard of Zoom.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's out.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of created for this. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But thank goodness. I mean, it's gonna give everybody when we come back the way things were, and that's fine, all live. But still, this is gonna open up the world even more, kind of like cell phones and texting and internet did. It just the technology make our heads explode. But I want to go back to
what did we learn? We learned that we should have bought stock in Zoom.
Oh my God! Oh yeah. and rubber gloves.
Yeah.
PPEs.
PPE.
Hey, hey, Kaz. You know what? I think you and I met probably your Blue Oyster Cult days, of course. We worked every year you were with Blue Oyster Cult. I think we worked together. It was amazing. But I'm noticing obviously that you're out. There's a great call for Utopia music.
Yeah, I was actually, one of the last shows I did was in Chicago in March before everything shut down, and I was out touring behind with my own band, Kasim Sulton's Utopia, because Utopia we weren't really in the last 20 years we really hadn't played at all. We did a reunion tour in 2018. Prior to that, I had gone out and did maybe about a half a dozen shows by myself with my version of the band, and it was so successful. Then got together, we did a tour, and then the following year I did another 17 shows with my version of the band, and it's a prog rock band that never really toured a lot.
Right.
In the 90s.
I saw you guys in Coney Island, remember, with Carl Palmer, Asia.
Yeah, that was Todd's solo show. That was Todd's solo. Yeah,
he played all Utopia stuff then, didn't he?
We did a bunch of Utopia songs then, but that was the Yes tour too, wasn't Carl? Because Carl
it was Yes.
Then we played, and then Yes played.
I got to say, you guys blew everybody off.
Oh, thanks, man.
Great show, man.
You guys were awesome. I hadn't really seen you guys in a long, long time. And that was the first time I saw you. And I said, when did you move from Blue Oyster Cult to Utopia, remember? Backstage.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know you were playing with them. And it was awesome show. It was really fantastic.
Well, that's where I started my career, was with Todd in 1976, and was with Utopia. I mean, we played the Todd plays the Arcadia Theater twice a year, usually in a good year.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm very lucky that way. So let's talk, you guys. Let's take a quick talk about Joni herself. I've had my experience with her. She's always been wonderful to me. With all of us, really sweet. I mean, give me a good Joan story.
I was actually, while we were talking, I was thinking, because I was going back to Sandy's gratitude thing, because gratitude's a big word in recovery and acceptance. We played with. We both played. All three of us played with Joan Jett, and we've all done wonderful things.
Look at that.
At different times. Picture. Look at that. Look at that hair, man.
Oh my God.
Rest in peace, Pat Torpy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Look at that.
Do you remember when he broke when their Robert's drummer broke his arm backstage playing football in the bathroom?
Hey, hold on. Put that picture back, Ricky. Are you wearing lipstick?
No.
Oh man. He just had a Red Bull at that moment. That's all.
You know what? Ricky taught me how to get. Ricky taught me how to get the hair like that. He say, when you get out of the shower and your hair is still damp, get a towel and rub the top of your hair like that, right. And then spray it with Final Net or something.
Final
Net. Is that Curbishley in the picture?
It is Curbishley on the left.
Yeah. So while we're at it, let me just say that I'm grateful that I still have a good head of hair. It might be white, but still there.
Yeah, God bless you.
So what happened was we started the tour, and Robert's drummer. Do you remember his name, Sandy?
No.
God, what was his
name? He played that big 26 bass drum. I remember that.
So before the first show, we're playing a big Madison Square Garden place somewhere. I don't remember where even. And all of a sudden we hear that the drummer was throwing a football or something around backstage in the bathroom and slipped and broke his arm.
Oh,
so that's where Pat Torpy came from.
Right. And you know what? And Robert was nice enough to keep that guy, the injured guy,
that's right.
On that tour. He played percussion with one hand or something.
Yeah, that was such a great tour, man. Robert was a sweetheart, man.
It was awesome. It was.
But there you go again.
Now that picture is Kenny Laguna and Joan threw us an after party. That was after the fifth night on Broadway. It was some little restaurant. They closed the restaurant. We had a little after party. That was cool. Very cool.
What I wanted to say is, let's I want to personally give props to Johnny. Like you know, you can't be on stage with a better person than Joan Jett. Like, she rocks like nobody. And, you know, she took me around the world a couple of times. She's the reason I'm in the Rock Hall, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She's a doll. And it was a pleasure and an honor to be in that band for 10 years. You know, I'm sure Cyndi and Kaz will agree. It was a great rock and roll band. I mean, you know, we kicked ass on stage. We never left anything on the stage. Would you not agree there, fellas?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There were so many
Look at
great
Kaz.
shows.
Look at you guys.
Yeah, and you know the thing about Joan is
Wow.
that, you know, she's such a good soul, and she takes what she does. She takes it so seriously.
Right.
There's just no middle ground with Joan. It's one end of the spectrum or the other. And you know, what she puts out on stage, very few artists are able to do that.
What about her
Let me just say
preparation?
that on stage, I was usually between Johnny and the monitor guy, and if the monitors weren't, if she couldn't hear herself, oh man, that look.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
It like burned right through me.
Mhm.
You know, I remember her being, like Ricky said, very easygoing. She was you know, we all toured on the same bus, and it was, you know, it wasn't girl. It was like everything was like just easy and very relaxed. That's on a Rock Legends cruise I was with Travers and Kasim was with Blue Oyster Cult. But anyway, it was awesome. Like on that Far East tour, I guess I got annoyed. I know I annoyed Ricky a few times. I constantly had a video camera. And every time I stuck that camera in Joan's face, it would be a smile, or she'd do some sort of silly imitation. And you know, she was so down to earth and very, very cool. And talk about grateful, man. You know, as you said, I never would have been to Thailand or Malaysia or seeing the Monkees, and, you know, not the playing Monkees, but the actual real Monkees who used to go touring. It was just.
What was the name of the video again? The VHS.
What's that?
It was Sandy's something adventure. What was it called?
Oh, that was
Sandy made us all like
Sandy's most excellent adventure.
Oh, right. That was Bill and Ted's. Gotcha.
Where's the video? Where's the videos now?
Right.
He posts them all the time on Facebook.
Where's the video?
I do. You know, I've downloaded that whole video on my computer, that whole DVD, and I have this. It's called Sledgehammer or something. Some sort of app where you can take little snippets of it and leave the original DVD intact, the original film intact. So I take like little snippets of it and post it. I hope you guys don't mind that.
Do you remember, like, and I'm not sure everybody remembers, the last night of a tour, like even Plant, like the Practical Joke night, like Robert Plant's nightstand to those, you know. Those days, I mean, I'm not really a touring musician anymore. Like, I do events and stuff, and I'm part of like a band that does these cool charity things. And if we ever get out of this, I'll do some gigs for my record. But I mean, those tours were like insane, right? They were amazing. Like the places we went, the people we got to hang with. I mean, I remember standing, you know, the people that you would pass along the way, like bands that you grew up. I remember like meeting blues musicians in hotels that I grew up, not Muddy Waters or anything, but you know, it's just Ricky, so filled with great stuff.
Do you remember the time that Chuck Berry opened for us?
Yes.
Wow.
He was scary. Wasn't he scary?
He was huge. He was.
I mean, he scary backstage.
Does anybody else having audio issues?
No.
Yeah.
I remember shaking his hand, and his hand was like the size of a basketball.
I know. That's right. He loved Snoop Dogg fingers.
He loved Joni, though. Remember?
Yeah.
I remember one of those tours we were playing a college, and B.B. King was playing also. And I remember walking downstairs. It was like a college, so I was walking in the hallway, and I see B.B. King like in his dressing room by himself, and he sees me. That's freaking B.B. King, for crying out loud, you know? He looks at me and he goes, "Hey, man, come on in." And I sat there for like a half an hour, and he was telling me stories. I'm like, wow, you know, this is crazy. I remember when we played with, I don't know what, I think it was 85. Who was with us in 85?
Not me.
Were you, Sandy?
Nope.
No,
Sandy was. It was.
we played Chicago Fest, and
Yeah, right.
so right, and Sinatra was we played with
Yep.
Sinatra.
Yep. I was there at Navy Pier. Absolutely.
Dude, he played so Sinatra, and like I'm the biggest Sinatra fan. He played at 8:00, right, and then there was all of his crowd, and then there was a gate, and then it was our stage, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just right by the front. Absolutely.
Dude, I remember being in the trailer, and somebody comes in and says, "Who's the Frank fan here?" Like like those Butler's really guys. And he says, "That's me." He says, "It's not me."
No.
Standing right on the side of the stage when he watching Frank sing freaking Chicago. I mean,
It's amazing.
The stories of the people that we played with passed along the way, I mean, it's just insane.
You talk about Frank. I mean, besides the great Kaz, by the way, happy birthday, Kaz, a couple days ago.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
Hey.
very much.
But besides him, Saturday is actually Frank Sinatra's 150th
That's
birthday.
right.
And we actually recorded something I did this last week just to do something. We're all want to freaking our head wants to explode. So I invited 28 local, all these restaurants. I got the Sinatra guys, all the crooners. I got 28 of those guys all together. And they did 22 Sinatra songs, duos, trios. Remember when Frank Sinatra and Elvis did that duet together?
Yeah.
We recreated that.
They did Hound Dog.
They did Hound Dog. They did Witchcraft. They also did. What was the Elvis song? Love Me Tender. Love Me Tender. So, but we did that, and we're showing it Saturday night. It's incredible. 28 performers.
Let me tell you, I'm not ashamed to say this. So I've seen him like 4 times, right? So I brought my mom to, I think it might have been Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
So we got there early. I said, let's go around the side, and wait for him to come in. So we're there, and we're like, what it's like. There's the barriers, and we're like 2 people back. There was like a little old Italian lady in front of us, right? And we're waiting about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden the limo pulls up, and Frank and Barbara get out of the limo, and Frank's wearing, he's in that baseball jacket, satin jacket mode,
Right.
baseball hat. And dude, the little old lady in front of us says, Frankie, come here, I got some candies for you, or cannoli, or whatever it was. And she comes over, and he's standing like a foot away from me. My mother started crying, and I started crying.
Yeah.
It was like, holy shit, it's fucking Frank Sinatra. I mean,
Wow.
Oh my God,
No, incredible. I mean, that guy, again, touched so many people. I mean, beside the obvious, but musically incredible. I mean, people like, Buddy Guy was telling me about one of his favorite performers of all time. You would think, all these 1920s guys, that blues, this and that. One of his top 3 is Frank Sinatra. So it's really incredible.
I just finished another book on him, a great book called The Chairman. Listen, man, he had his moments, man. He was a mean ass drunk, He had his moments, but
There's a Netflix documentary on
Yeah, how is that?
Yeah.
Is that a good one, Carmine?
Really
It
good.
is.
Really
Really
good. I mean, come on. Then he started a label, the big label. Big press,
And how about when he went in the studio, he'd always have like, there you go. He would always have like 25 of his hanger-ons like in the studio because he wanted to sing in front of people. Like one take, baby, with the band.
One take, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Buddy Rich played with him.
Yeah.
Big time.
And
Big time.
Buddy Rich was good friends. When Buddy died, I went to Buddy's funeral, and at his funeral was Frank. There was. They told the story of how when he met Buddy, I think they were playing with Tommy Dorsey.
Right.
And Buddy came in the band, and Tommy said to Frank, "Hey Frank, I want to introduce you to our new drummer. Here's another pain in the ass, Frank, just like you. Frank, this is Buddy Rich."
Wow.
And everybody at the funeral cracked up laughing because the intensity of the emotion in the room was unbelievable. They had, I think Dean Martin was there. They had all these crooner guys there. Even Robert Blakely was there, and it was unbelievable.
Wow.
And
What about that great Rickle story, the famous Rickle story?
Oh yeah, I know that one. You got it?
Rickles is just starting out, and Frank liked him. He liked his humor, and they're at a restaurant together. Rickles is a young guy; he's not married yet or anything, and he goes over to Frank. He says, "Listen, I'm trying to impress this beautiful woman over here. Do me a favor. Wait like 15 minutes. Come over to the table and say, 'Hey, Don, how you doing?'" And Frank says, "No problem, no problem." 15 minutes goes by, and Frank goes over to the tables. Rickles sitting there with this beautiful woman, and Frank says, "Hey, Don, how you doing?" And Rickles looks up and says, "Hey, man, can't you see I'm talking to somebody?" and Frank loved him to death for the rest of his life because of that.
Absolutely.
Ricky, I was muted. I was having an issue with my microphone before. But was that Carnegie Hall when you saw Frank? Was that Carnegie Hall you're talking about?
Yeah.
It was either Carnegie Hall or Radio City. It must have been Carnegie Hall.
It was Carnegie Hall. My mother used to see Frank when she used to go to the Academy of Music in the Paramount, like as a bobby socker.
Wow.
She was one of those bobby sockers. So I had met somewhere, I think in regard to Lauper, I met the guy that was Frank's sound man. So he gave me his card and he said, "Hey, Sandy, if we ever hear us playing around, man, I'll hook you up." Mm-hmm. So he played Carnegie Hall. So I got a limo. I went and picked up my mother on Staten Island for her birthday. Her birthday was around that time. And Sandy, where are we going? Where are we going? I picked her up and pulled up in front of Carnegie Hall, and she gets out and she couldn't believe. She was like next to herself, right? So we sit down. We had like 5th or 6th row aisle.
Nice. She
sat on the aisle. I sat right next to her. And she gets a tap on the shoulder about maybe 4 songs in. And the sound man brought, now this is like maybe, late 80s or something.
Yeah.
He brought headphones connected with the curly cord down and she put a stereo mix of the show on my mother's head.
Wow.
Looking up at Frank like this. So I said to him after the show, I ran back while everybody was like getting their coats and everything. I ran back and I said, "Hey man, is there any way we can get back to say hello to Frank?" And he said, "That's
so Sandy."
Frank is already gone. He said he does his short little meet and greet with all his buddies prior to the show, but after the show, while people are still applauding, like Ringo, he's in the van. Yeah. He's in the van already when. So yeah, but my mother took Polaroids and pictures.
Oh man,
yeah, we did that every night with Rod Stewart. We got off the second, third, whatever the encore, right from the stage closed. We used to have these capes. They gave us these capes, so we'd be all sweaty. You put the cape on right into no van, into the limos.
Yeah.
So Carmine, how did you get Rod Stewart's gig?
Oh. That's a good one. This is really funny because I knew Sandy in L.A. and I found out something later the other day actually about Sandy that I didn't know. But I was walking, we were hanging out and I ran into Sandy and I said, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" He goes, "I just auditioned for Rod Stewart." I said, "Oh, what happened? Did you get it?" He says, "No, I didn't get it." He goes, "But you should call him."
Well, you know what? Let me interrupt. Wow. You know why I didn't get the gig? Because I had to learn "Tonight's the Night." That's a kick, snare, hat song. And the auditions were at SIR on Sunset Boulevard. Backline provided, everything, drums, everything provided. And it's a cattle call audition. So I'm waiting in the lobby and I'm hearing all these drummers play "Tonight's the Night." So, "Okay, Sandy, we're ready for you." And I get up and, no, it's this way. No, I got to bring my drums in. "No, Sandy, there's already drums there. They have their guitars, everything. Rod's in there. He's ready to." No, I got to get my own drums. This is 1970, 76, 77?
76.
So I was so insecure before I did any name gigs or whatever. So I went and 2 26-inch kicks.
Oh my God.
4 rack toms, 2 floor toms, and maybe an assortment of cymbals. Hey, and Rod comes in and goes, "Hey man, those drums better sound good." And I went, "Oh shit, I blew this gig." So anyway, then I run into Carmine. I told him the story. Go ahead, Carmine.
So then I said, "Oh well, you have the number." So he gives me the number, and he said Pete Buckland was the guy's name and the number.
Right.
Pete Buckland was the tour manager that we toured with Cactus, and we tore up hotels together, Cactus in the Faces. So I said, okay. So I called Pete up. I said, "Hey, Pete, it's Carmine and Pete. How you doing?" "Good. I heard Rod's looking for a drummer." He goes, "Yeah, he is." I said, "Why, you don't give me a call?" He goes, "You're always busy." I said, well, I'm not busy. I'd love to play with Rod. So next thing I know, he called Rod. Rod said, differently than Sandy, I didn't have to wait on any lines. He said, well, Rod's rehearsing with the band at the house. Why don't you go over there and check the band out? So I said, okay. So I went over and I figured, well, I'm going to bring my good car. I'm going to drive over with my Pantera, because I'm going to Rod's house. I knew Rod had Lamborghinis and stuff. So I pull up to the house, to the gate, big gate with the gates that open up. Hey, how'd you get that picture? Wow, there's my Pantera. So I pull up and I said, man, I didn't know Rod made this kind of money. This was like a 10,000 square foot house. It was amazing. Beverly Hills. So I walk in and I knew a couple of the guys in the band, Phil Chen, I played with on the Blow by Blow record, and Jim Cregan. I did some gigs with Ian Pace and John Lord in London while I was working on the Blow by Blow record. So it was awesome. So I played with them. And then he said, well, look, Rod's coming back in a couple of days. What do you think? I said, yeah, I like it. So he tells Rod, I liked it. So Rod, then they called me up, said, come on back, Rod's in town. Let's have it play with the band. So I had to play with the band. Next thing I know, Rod's saying, look, just play with me like that, like you play with Cactus. You'll have a solo every night. He says, I'm going to use your solo to get up my new suit, another change of clothes, fix my hair up. And I know when I'm done, you're going to have the audience riled up, because we did like 30 shows, with them. And that's how it happened. But then I find out last week, I'm talking to Sandy, that because of me, I got him in his first big gig. Right?
Well,
Sandy, you tell that story.
Well, indirectly, when I was in LA, I was so depressed after I blew that Rod Stewart audition, because I knew I would have got it if I just played the cards right. So I was so depressed. Anyway, I said, what am I going to do? I was next to myself, and all I did was pray for inspiration. Just give me a sign. What am I going to do? I'm going to throw the drumsticks in the fucking fireplace. So I wrote, long story short, I wrote resumes to 50 managers that managed bands that I really liked. And one of those resumes was to Peter Grant, based in England. But his address was Swan Song Records, and all his mail went to Swan Song Records. And the attorney, Steve Weiss, would forward the mail. Anyway, my resume had nothing on it. Had a picture of me with my drum set, my double bass drum set, and who I took lessons from in New York or whatever. I had no resume at all. But Carmine, can I use your name as on my resume? Sure, Sandy, go ahead and do that, because he heard me play in LA when I was with Steppenwolf, whatever. But so Steve Weiss doesn't forward the Peter Grant resume. He opens the resume for some reason. This is the universe working, putting the chess pieces together. He opens the resume and he sees the resume. He goes, no, I don't want somebody from LA. But he turns the page and sees Carmine's name on it. And the next call he makes is to Carmine. Hey, Carmine, who's this guy, Sandy? Oh, Carmine vouches for me. The next call Steve Weiss makes, hey, Sandy, this is Steve Weiss. I'm the attorney for Led Zeppelin. I thought he was bullshitting me. And in typical LA fashion, because there's people in LA that would do that just to put a little salt in the wound. So anyway, long story short, he goes, listen, Sandy, I'm shopping a cassette with songs by Michael Bolton, he was known as at the time, and Bruce Kulick. We're getting interest from labels. I need a rhythm section. I'm going to have Jimmy Hassel fly in. Would you want to fly in and audition for this band, a yet unnamed band? So I did, and I got the gig. Jimmy flew in. We all rehearsed together. 2 or 3 days later, we showcased for about 4 or 5 different labels. Polygram was the highest bidder. Steve Weiss was our attorney, and the band turned into Blackjack. Wow. I flew back to LA, signed to a 7-album deal, 2 albums guaranteed. The first album was done in Criteria with the legendary Tom Dowd producing. So I mean, do I lie awake at night going? It was the launching pad. It was the first pro gig. About 2 or 3 months later, I found myself at Criteria Studios in Miami, being produced by Tom Dowd. Wow. And I was very close to throwing the sticks in the fireplace.
Hey, Sam,
you're welcome. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Wow,
you're welcome for the Rod Stewart gig, Dick. Come on.
Hey, Sandy, did you really think you needed 2 26-inch bass drums for Tonight's the Night?
Well, that's the point, Vinny. That's the point. All I needed was the kick snap, but I was so insecure at that point about I needed to play on my own drum set. I don't know what it is, but
that's a good picture of us there, Sandy.
that is now.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to go into the whole history, but I grew up a Vanilla Fudge fan, and I used to nick his licks. I used to do the cymbal choke standing up, all of that. I used to go everywhere I can get in public transportation because I lived on Staten Island to see this band. There were one, and I knew it. I used to sneak backstage at a place called the Action House in Long Island. I snuck backstage. I actually talked to Mark Stein when I was like 15 or 16 years old. And so I went to a clinic of Carmine's and on Kings Highway in Brooklyn, next to in a little theater next to Sam Asher. And Carmine was always very, very nice to me, and that encouraged me. And that's one of the reasons why I reach out. I accommodate people when they want my autograph or a picture or whatever, or like me on Facebook or whatever, because I remember how Carmine treated me. And I'm saying, well, this is a rock. Well, this is a rock star, and look how he's treating me, or whatever. So how much of a thrill was it for me to be asked after? Well, first of all, when I was with the Pat Travers Band in the early '80s, I found myself opening for Ted Nugent, and Carmine was the drummer in Ted Nugent's band at the time. So we used to go to clubs, and now we were in a social environment. We used to go to clubs after the gigs and sit in with the band in a Holiday Inn, bar or whatever. And then after that tour was over, of all the drummers he could have asked to do the drum battle tour, and that's the 4 drummers he asked. There was Michael DeRosier.
Right?
Wow, look at that.
Michael DeRosier on the right, rest his soul, Bruce Drum from Molly Hatchet. Michael DeRosier was the original drummer in Heart, me, and then Carmine. And that was the finals at Griffith Park in Los Angeles. And I think
10,000 people.
It was awesome. So how much of it, Ricky, talking about touring with your idols and touring about people, how much of it, Carmine asked me to be, of all the drummers he could ask, it was like awesome.
You're one of the, for being a drummer, you're a great axe player. Let me just say that.
Yeah, he did say it. That's his
funny?
Yeah, look at that. Bunny Carlos.
Funny?
Look at that. That's a good picture.
Oh,
There's Vinny Appice on the right.
Look at Vinny!
And Bunny Carlos and Michael DeRosier. And he had Carmine, you had a whole table.
And guess who one of the judges was? Buddy Rich.
Wow, really?
And that's the day I flew from there. Part of the deal was that Buddy did the afternoon. That night he played Disneyland, and I had to fly in a helicopter with ABC News in the helicopter with us. So there's the pilot in the front. Buddy is sitting in front of me, right? On the right of me was the ABC guy with the camera, and then me in the back of Buddy. So Buddy turns to the camera and says, "This is my friend Carmine Appice. He's a great drummer. What do I know?"
Right.
I sat down there and went, "Whoa, this is unbelievable,"
See,
I became friends with Buddy after that.
The thing that goes through our heads, and I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody at some point or another, is like I did a recovery event in I don't even remember, maybe it was Jersey or something, with Carmine and Kenny Aronson on bass, right?
Remember that? Yep.
So, and it was just, we didn't rehearse or anything. So we did some cream stuff, we did some blues, and like I'm talking about, like playing with people like you grew up listening to, and then I'm up front with my Flying V and we're playing blues, and then I'm hearing and I'm going in my brain, I'm going, that's fucking Carmine.
See?
That's that band.
Yeah, that's great. That was fun. And you remember that there was a group, it was a vocal group that did songs without instruments. They were called the Rock and Roll Choir.
Yeah.
I went in, I did a song with them. We did a Led Zeppelin song, which is me and them. And they played the bass, guitars, all their vocals. And I have a recording of it. It's unbelievable. It's really
How did they hear that?
amazing. It's like 80. I said, send me the tracks. So they send me 80 tracks.
Oops.
I said, now forget it. Even with everything Vinny taught me about recording, I couldn't deal with 80 tracks.
Wow.
Then you get a
Wow.
couple of monitors of that one.
Yeah.
The monitors, yeah, the whole monitor issue. Hey guys, we want to just thank you, Ricky, Sandy, Kaz. You know, God bless you guys through all this craziness. Thank you for all the memories and thank you for all the music. And
I just want to mention one other thing.
Yes, Sam, go ahead.
Just one other thing. Talking about how the world goes around and it all comes around. You know, Kasim and I grew up on Staten Island, and we played in high school bands. We know each other for 40 years.
No kidding.
From
Wow.
40, tried 50.
50, the late 60s, 50 years. So we're in some hockey arena in Canada with Joan, and we found ourselves in the same bathroom, and we're both peeing in the urinal, and I go, Kasim, you know, 40 years ago, did you ever imagine that we'd be in the same band opening, you know, playing in Joan Jett's band opening for Robert Plant? Yes. But anyway, it's an incidental story.
You know what?
I do that with Vinny all the time.
Let me just,
I know him for 62 years.
Yeah,
That's right. You were changing his diapers. He's gonna change yours now.
He's like a brother to me. He's like a brother to me.
I think, like all of us, you know, to add to what Sandy said is, you know, we were all these kids that, you know, we listened to Zeppelin and Free and, you know,
Hendrix.
Yeah, and like we've played with so many of the people that we grew up listening to, man. Like I've been talking about this a lot because I'm in this promo mode, but you know, I remember sitting in Abbey Road with Roger Daltrey. I'm doing an Roger Daltrey record, and they were working on something else. So we were watching British football. We were watching soccer, and he's on one couch, I'm on the other couch, and I look at him and I go, "It's freaking Roger Daltrey." I said to myself.
Right.
You know, it's like, I mean, I played All the Young Dudes with Ian Hunter. I mean, these are all the bands that I was a kid.
You know what a great platform for that kind of vibe was, and Vinny can attest to this. So could Kasim, so could Ricky, and so could Carmine. Was the fantasy camps.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, because all the counselors are people on our kind of level,
yeah.
And we get to play together several times during the camp. And that was where I met a bunch of my people that became friends.
I still on my bucket list is I want to, like, talking about Carmine playing with Rob. Dude, I want to do Maggie May with Rob just once before I croak, man.
Oh
Just
yeah,
once.
that's
I mean,
a cool
the faces,
item.
the faces, like the Faces and the Stones and Humble Pie. Those were my three go-to bands when I was a kid.
That's a cool bucket list item, man.
I think we can all agree that we're five very lucky guys.
Absolutely, man.
Very, very, very lucky.
You may say that I'm the luckiest one here tonight to be surrounded by you guys. All kidding aside, thank you so much, guys. It's an honor.
I love you so much, man.
Cool,
And
dude.
Vinny, it's so good talking to you.
You too, guys. It's so nice to see
And let me just say,
everybody.
Vinny, Vinny, you got to stop interrupting. You talk too much. I just want to say that.
I'm listening to the stories. They're fantastic. Great. I love it.
And next week we're doing rockers and artwork. So we're having rock guys who paint.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We do this every Thursday night.
Vinny, don't forget to paint something, Vinny.
Paint something, Vinny.
Paint something.
You
I
should
painted this room.
Piece of art.
You can point to Carol Carmine because she manages Bobby Whitlock, and he's an exceptional painter.
Wow.
Like, he's really, really good.
Hey, Ricky, give our best to Carol, okay?
I certainly.
Yeah.
Garrison.
Love to Carol.
And we'll see you. And we'll see you all somewhere on the road.
Somewhere.
Yeah,
Hopefully on the road.
Happy holidays, you guys. God bless
Yeah,
you.
be safe, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you
We
very
got
much.
everybody like, you got everybody share, and see us every week right here. Same bad channel, same bad station. Every
they can watch this as a replay, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Facebook page. You go to YouTube. Hangin' and Bangin'. Artists Out Lockdown. We'll see you guys next Thursday night. Happy holidays, everybody. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Love you all. Rock and roll forever. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night. Bye, everyone.
Bye.